Hello, DevOps people. How is everyone? Welcome to the Obsitive Office Hour. I'm Jochen from Obsitive, and I'm a little bit surprised that I'm doing this stream myself, because if I'm honest, I'm not too well at the moment. I guess I have a bout of burnout at the moment, so I've taken a mental health day today. A little bit of time off, so I have a long weekend to recover. But I thought, I'd like to do this office hour anyway, and that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, maybe. Hey, Praxeus, and hey, Stupak, good to have you. Welcome to the stack. Definitely, and that's the good thing if you have a company that you not only own but also where people have understanding. And so my colleague even took over my on-call duty for the weekend without me asking, and so it really feels great to have this support. It might sound counterintuitive that I still do a live stream, but my burnout comes from stuff that puts pressure on myself, and if I feel like doing something, that's obviously not pressure, and so I feel free to do that and have a little bit of company. Very nice company today again, and I don't think this will keep me from recovering. It might even contribute to my recovery. So, the office hour is my most convenient type of live stream, because I don't have to think in advance what I'm going to do. It all depends on the questions that you folks ask. So, let's make this interactive. I'm not going to come up with a lot of stuff. Maybe not nothing, but at least I'll not play the active role. And so it'll all depend on what you folks ask me about Linux administration, about Ruby coding, about software and IT engineering in general, or about keyboards. Any new keyboards lately? Asks Supak. No, I'm afraid I got over this particular kind of gear acquisition syndrome. I think I have all the keyboards that I would want. I have different types of keyboards, like the Happy Hacking keyboard and the new Model F, and quite a number of more common custom keyboards. And I have my split keyboards like the Korn and the Lulu, which both are very nice split keyboards. So, since I pretty much, not to forget the Cornish Zen that I use when I'm traveling. So I have all the keyboards, more than the keyboards that I need, but also all the keyboards that I would want. I'll still rotate through keyboards on at least a weekly basis, but there won't be newcomers to my collection anymore, except if there's something really, really different that I would like to have. But this has petered out, I guess, for the time being. And I also don't want to get into the waiting game anymore. With group buys still taking a lot of time, sometimes years. There are still 2 keycap sets that I ordered, I guess, 3 years ago, and that haven't arrived yet. And there's not much use in ordering more stuff. Stupak wrote, the only thing I'm looking into is making aluminium dactyl maniform, but it will be pricey as a one-off. Pricey is putting it lightly, I'd say. I mean, the dactyl maniforms are so complex that they even are pricey when you get them 3D printed, but having one as an aluminium, that has to drive prices up. I'm not even sure how you would manufacture that. That might actually require CNC mills of pretty high sophistication, 5-axis CNC machines, or I'm not even sure if that's even enough. And having them as a one-off, you'd probably pay maybe $3,000. I'm not really sure. But it's a great project. Having a ductile monoform with an aluminium case must be pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Praxeus wrote, I have a keyboard and mouse I keep by the servers for when I need access to them directly. I call it keyboard jail. Yeah, makes sense. I have a keyboard that was used for server stuff. A Cherry 11. Oh, what is it? 11900. 11900. Yeah, I think it's an 11900. So it's a alphanumeric keyboard with a numpad next to it and a small little trackpad built in as well. And since this is quite the tight form factor, it was mainly used, or maybe is even still used in data centers, and so that you can have a racked a keyboard tray that you can simply pull out and have not only a keyboard but also a mouse if you need one. A trackpad to be precise. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a ductile monoform form factor will need a 5-axis mill. And Praxeus, you mean your lab isn't yet racked? We'll all get there eventually. But hey, servers on a shelf was how I got into internet services. When I first started out having my first web server myself that I then sublet, i.e. Used for friends and family, and maybe even my first few hosting contracts, I actually built a Linux server myself in a nice little mini form factor tower case, mini tower. And then I drove it to the city where the internet provider I used had their offices, and they didn't yet have a data center. They simply ran their data center from another room that they had kitted out with AC and stuff, and simply put in shelves. So I took my little mini tower and put it on the shelf next to the many other very various and varied machines, and they plugged in the network cable, and that was it. And that's how I got my first web server online. That internet provider grew quite a bit, and I joined them decades later as an IT manager, actually. How are you enjoying the ductile monoform? That's one of the things that I was referring to earlier that could still tickle my fancy, because I've never tried a ductile monoform and how it actually feels typing on. Stop whetting my appetite. But I'm happy for you. Yeah, I think that's around $300 is the common price point for these. Yeah, don't expect this stream to keep you off stuff. We'll get you on stuff. Hi, I'm Obsitive and I have a keyboard problem. Exegete, good morning. How are you and the family? And again, for everyone who's new to the channel, this is the Obsitive Office Hour, and if you have any questions about Linux or Ruby or IT in general, then post them to chat. I'll do my best to answer them. You have a Bear 65. A Bear 65. Wasn't that the one that I was lusting after, at least for a little while? Let me see. Bear 65 keyboard. Jackie Lab. Yeah, that was the Alice type keyboard. Why did I lust after that? I think because it had a split backspace. Let me get pictures, or maybe the website does not have any details. They simply point at Discord. But I'm not joining a Discord just to buy stuff. And I'm not even going to buy stuff at them. With them. No, let's go back and search. Or maybe let's get some images. Yes, the Bear 65 does have split backspace. That's also in the category of things I would be interested in still. Because it's a nice little... it's in the... I think it's in these Alice-style keyboards are in the Goldilocks area between split keyboards and monolithic staggered keyboards. And there's, for example, now an Alice keyboard from Keychron. But as usual, these off-the-shelf keyboards don't have a split backspace, and that's what I really need. Split backspace means that where usually the backspace key is, which is a 2-unit wide key, this key is split into 2 keys. Usually then that's backspace and the tilde key. And backspace jumps 1 row down where usually the backspace key is. So, no, the backslash key is. Backspace comes much more into reach of your pinky finger, while backspace goes 1 row up and shares the space initially occupied by the backspace key with the tilde key, which makes things much more accessible. And I'm pretty much used to that now. Let me show you the happy hacking keyboard that I am using at the moment, where you can see the, oh dear, mirrored stuff, where you can see the split backspace in action. The happy hacking keyboard actually, I think, introduced the concept of the split backspace key. Exactly as Stupak says, it makes backspace much easier to use. And the this 1.5U key where backspace then is on is still big enough to be an easy target for your pinky finger. It shouldn't be an issue with well, depends on, yeah, you're right. EU layout has this big enter key without a separate backspace above the enter key. Yeah, the EU layout might not actually work well with the split backspace format, but since I'm using ANSI layout everywhere, simply to get easy access to the symbols I need for coding, in international layouts, these symbols mostly are hidden away on some kind of a layer, and being able to get all kinds of brackets easily is really important for me. So that's why I got all my keyboards in the ANSI layout. Let me check out the Blue Bear. That's actually a nice blue. You could say it's an obsidive blue. Yeah, the desk mat is nice too. That's true. The whole keycap set is quite nice, to be honest. Stupak, we should talk in private. The keyboard that you linked, Exegete, why would you call that split? There's nothing in there that's split. It's a typical ANSI layout. Interestingly, the keys have different widths from the usual ANSI layout. The backslash key is just one U, and the delete key in this case, which usually is backspace, only has 1.5 U, so it's a little bit more tightly stuffed, I'd say. The escape key, on the other hand, is huge, but completely out of reach. So yeah, that wouldn't be a keyboard that I would touch, actually. It's very impractical for many reasons. Yeah, shipping from the US will be an issue. It's well, not an issue. It would be a little bit expensive, but I'll have to think about that. At least we could talk about minimizing customs fees. So again, let me see if I can get the desk cam on screen with the microphone. Okay, so we should have microphone now. And if I turn this around 180 degrees, now I turned around the microphone. That's not what I wanted to do. How about we turn this around? Okay, here we go. What I meant by split backspace. Usually the backspace key is up here as a 2-unit key. Yeah, next to the number row. At the end, at the right end of the number row, normally here's the backspace key. But with the split backspace, as you can see, this is split into 2 keys. The 2 units are taken up by 2 1-unit keys. And when you, if you ask, now where's the backspace key gone? It went down 1 row. Where usually a pretty big backslash key is, which is pretty impractical because who needs backslash more than backspace? And therefore in easier reach. That doesn't make any sense. And that's why you want to have the backspace key here, where I can easily get it without moving my fingers from the home row. And if I have to type backslash, I go here. And if I have to type the tilde key, I go here. So that makes it much easier to type. Does that make it more clear? Stupak already had cleared it up, though. Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch up with chat. Exactly, that's the other change that the Happy Hacking Keyboard reintroduced. Let's go back to my desk cam. Here, the caps lock key has actually a caps lock symbol on it, but it's programmed as the control key. Because I almost never use caps lock, but I use control all the time. And again, having it near the home row where I can simply go from the A, 1 key to the left and hit control, then control C, for example, makes things so much easier. The Happy Hacking Keyboard made this, I guess, more popular, but the idea actually was implemented first with more wide effect by Sun keyboards. So if you have a Sun Spark Station or an old Sun Fire machine, all these Sun machines came with a keyboard that had the control key on this right side, where later the caps lock key ended up on most of the common keyboards. And if I really need caps lock, it's hidden on a layer, so it's still available, but not as readily available as normally is the case. Yeah, you're definitely spoiled having a split keyboard because, yeah, with split keyboards, many of these changes have been baked in already. Balthazar, happy Friday to you too. And yes, Praxeus, I do get tripped up by default keyboards. For example, if I go downstairs and sit at my wife's Mac, where she has a normal keyboard, then I'll really have to focus not to hit backslash and these things. I mean, it's not super bad, but I definitely get a little bit thrown off by default keyboards. See, Balthazar is another control key user. Best laptop keyboard layout? I would say the Author linear keyboard of the M&T Reform. Let's see if I can get that on screen. Or was it the Reform? I think it was. It doesn't show an Author linear keyboard though. Let's see. No, they only offer different layouts. Wasn't the Reform the one? No, it wasn't. Wait. But it's also not the Amiga. No, that's actually for Amiga. That's extensions for Amigas. Okay. All for the retro computing fans. But I'm pretty sure it was the M&T. Weren't you able to replace the keyboard with a... Oh, was that Framework? Wait, let's use search laptop Author linear keyboard. See, I did remember it correctly. It's not very prominent, is it? Aww. Yeah, here in this picture you can see they actually built an alternative keyboard that's completely in a grid layout. Similar to the Plonk. No, actually similar to the... what's the one with one more row? The Pro. Oh dear. See, I'm out of the keyboard game. Plonk. And... Plonk is the one with the 4 rows, and then there's a 5 one. Dear me, I really can't impress with my keyboard knowledge anymore. Help me out here. Ooh, testing out switches, Balthazar. That's exciting. Do you have any preference already? So in terms of linear switches that are that don't have any resistance, don't have any bump, or more the tactile switches that have this bump, or even clicky switches that have a bump and sound. But now I want to find out the name. OLKB. Lonk. Oh dear. Prionic. The Prionic is ortholinear as well, but it has one more row, so it has actual number keys. You've used Cherry MX Reds, that would be the linear type, and the blues, that would be the clicky type. So you're exploring tactile switches, okay. Alright, so there's a recommendation I can make, but I'm not sure if they are still available. And that's the Boba U4T switches. And if you're not a very heavy typer, if you don't have hands like the Hulk, I would recommend the 62 grams. Or maybe the 65 ones, but not the 68 ones. They have a lot of resistance, and you can really feel a few additional grams. But those I really, really like, and they're very tactile. I have them in at least 2 of my keyboards. Are Holy Pandas still a thing even? I guess Dropped still sells them, but yeah, they must be outdated. But hey, I still have keyboards with Zeal V2 switches, and I still like them. They are at least as old as the Holy Pandas. Okay, we are a keyboard stream now. Again, if anyone has questions about Linux, about Ruby, try and get them in. Otherwise, we keep talking about keyboards. That's very sensible, Balthasar. That's a very sensible approach. Let me see what ZSA actually offers. ZSA keyboards. The Moonlander. What type of switches do they sell? Do they sell the original cherry keys? Cherry switches? Let's see. See the key switches. Cherry and kale. Okay, kale. Kale. Kale box brown would be your best option there in the tactile department. But I'm not really sure if they are much better than the Cherry MX Browns. The Cherry MX Browns are pretty derided in keyboard circles because their tactility is almost negligible. And so that's why people go to other vendors for that. Kale built some interesting alternatives, but I'm not sure if the brown ones would make a difference. But if you'd like to limit yourself to what CSA can provide you with, I would go with the Kale box brown over the Cherry Browns. Cherry MX Blues in an office environment. That's isn't that against the Geneva Convention? In terms of clicky switches, MX Blue are definitely the worst. I think there's broad consensus across the whole keyboard community that MX Blue are the worst. There, in that category, Kale has built something much better because they built a different mechanism for the clicking. I won't get too deeply into that. Cherry MX Blues use a click leaf, and that's just terrible. And the Kale clicky switches, they have a click bar, which is simply a spring-loaded bar that gets tension when you press the key, and at one point it snaps and creates the click, and that is a very easily discernible click, and that's definitely much better than the MX ones. So if we want to get clicky switches, get the Kale Box White. Yeah, they don't have the pink ones. And there are even clickier switches from Kale in different colors. I have the green ones, which are the second most clicky switches from Kale, and they are pretty clicky. But yeah, still, if you limit yourself to CSA and you want clicky switches, get the box whites. Oh, hey, Julian. Hello. Greetings. How's your Friday so far? People stopped minding as much when I got my own office. Yeah, I can imagine. That goes for taking showers as well. Code keyboard with MX greens. MX greens are super heavy, aren't they? They are also very rare, I think. Praxis writes, I care most about feel and layout. Yeah, definitely. And the switches are a big part of the feel, I guess. Layout is the most important thing in my mind. And then there's feel, and the switches have play a great role in that. The case also does, especially in terms of sound signature. But yeah, the type of switches you choose will greatly vary how you enjoy your keyboard. No, exegete. See, what I meant was people did... Oh, forget about it. Looking to move away from click these days. Hoping for a slightly less actuating force because I do feel like I'm getting joint pain. Yeah, okay, that's definitely something you need to watch out for. And yes, I mean, clicky switches by physics have a bit of resistance. Otherwise, how would the energy for the click pile up? And so, yeah, maybe linear switches are a little bit better in terms of RSI and stuff. The MX clears are heavy too, yeah. I tried these ones in one of my first mechanical keyboards, and yeah, not a fan. I mean, in terms of clickiness and in terms of use in an office environment, nothing beats the new Model F. And now I'll really take it out of the shelf. Let me unplug this here. Here's the Model F. I'll drop it from about 10 millimeters height. Mr. Dancer, hello. How are you? And now let's hear the new Model F when I type. That is pure sheet steel, my friend. It weighs about 3 kilograms. It's built like a tank, which is intentional because it's built like the old IBM keyboards of the 70s. It's more or less a direct replica of the IBM Model F. Which is the predecessor of the famous IBM Model M. Do they even let you fly with that? How would I fly with that? The weight alone would take up all my allowance. And yes, you can use this as an offensive weapon. I'm pretty sure I would get the cockpit door open with that. Yeah, or maybe use it to balance out the plane if there is some inconsistency in loading or something. Mr. Dancer, how's your Friday so far? How are things? Yeah, that was one of my lust after keyboards. Took me 2 years or so to pull the trigger. Because of course it's also not cheap. But the guy behind this keyboard put in so much work and effort to make a genuine replica of the keyboard, including the buckling spring switches. That's yeah, it's really amazing. A lot of work to do, getting stuff done for the weekend, I guess, or before the weekend. Hope you'll get it done quickly. Stupak's right. But I would caution that doing switch surgery takes a lot of time and patience. Praxeus, have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping by. So I did, for example, hand lube a few of my switch sets, but taking them all apart, and you need at least between 50 to 80 switches that you need to take apart without losing anything. Then you have to put the lubricant in there and then put them back together without destroying anything. That will take you hours, so it's really a labor of love, and you can do that watching or binging TV, but if you want to get your keyboard going quickly, it's definitely not the way. And nowadays, I'll be open, you can buy off-the-shelf switches that don't require hand looping. That was a rite of passage in the keyboard hobby 2-3 years ago, where you had to hand loop all your switches, maybe even remove factory provided loop and then do it yourself the proper way. But by now you can simply buy off-the-shelf switches like the Gazoo U4T that I showed earlier, that are very decent without manual intervention. Nope, the auto mod will catch that. Yeah, getter on yellows, for example, are linear switches that you can use that you can buy off the shelf that are pretty good. Stupak asks, I have a few servers that I need to send shutdown commands from my UPS. Got any recommendations? First of all, I guess APC UPSs are pretty decent. I've always used APC. I still have a UPC behind me in my rack, in my shelf, powering everything that's important. And those have USB ports that you can actually connect to Linux and, for example, trigger a 3-minute timer or an immediate shutdown once the UPS signals that it went on battery power. If you have multiple servers, though, you need some kind of software that, these only have one USB port. You'll have to have some kind of software that then forwards these battery power message to other servers. I can't recall the name of the software, but there is software that does that. Because that's quite a common use case, that you have one UPS but lots of stuff that needs to shut down in time. Maybe I can find something quickly if my mouse or my trackpad still works. Let's see. UPS shut down multiple Linux servers. Yes, there are super user questions for that. Synchronizing shutdown of several computers on one UPS. Common problem. Lots of rambling questions. Rambling answers. That didn't help. Not sure, just had a quick glance, but that seems to be one solution at least. And I think I actually used that. I think this software is really, really old. Yeah, it's been around before 2010, I think. I have to answer those questions. That's exactly what the office hour is for. Finally, someone asks a Linux question. So I have to answer that. So in terms of bookmarking, I actually switched completely to Obsidian, my note-taking application. I'm not storing bookmarks in my browser beyond what I need on a daily basis. And everything else doesn't go into any specific application. Of course, I used all the services. I used Delicious back in the day. I used things like... what's the popular bookmarking website called? I'm really blanking on names today. That's also an indication that I'm not at my peak performance. So yeah, I simply switched to adding bookmarks to notes on a specific topic. So for example, I have a home server note. And on there, I store all the bookmarks on the topic of home servers, or maybe on sub pages like Proxmox, for example. I have a sub page under home server or linked to home server about Proxmox, and on that page, I have all my Proxmox links, and that's definitely solved my bookmarking issues. I didn't get enough sleep, at least for the state I'm in at the moment. I would say I'm pretty much in burnout at the moment. I had a lot of pressure in recent weeks. First of all, because of a kind of a crisis, and after that, I felt a lot of pressure in terms of catching up with stuff that I had missed over the weeks. And that hasn't let up, and now I feel it physiologically. I'm really tired, even though I had full 8 or more hours of sleep at night. And I have my usual burnout symptoms, which means I feel really hot and have a slight headache and things like that. So it's a little bit like a flu without the sneezing and coughing. And that's a typical sign that I'm burnt out, and that's why I actually took a mental health day today. I took time off to have a longer weekend to recover and let the pressure dissipate and get back and recharge my batteries. So I'll definitely go to bed early today again, just to catch up with sleep and stuff. But I also need to simply switch to neutral and get my mind off things. Reading a physical book does make a lot of sense too. I got a lot of new books lately that I wanted to read, and I wish the weather was better, because that would help me getting outside, sitting in my camping chair or something and soaking up the sun. But there's no sun. It's totally cloudy at the moment, unfortunately. But still, I'll definitely get in some reading. I'll simply do what I'd like to do, just with this stream. I really wanted to do this stream, so I did. If I really want to do something, it won't contribute to my burnout. I don't think so. And still, I should go outside and get some fresh air. I do meditate. I should, but I didn't yet today. I should do that as well. It really helps. That's definitely something I would recommend as well. In terms of meditation, I usually do two kinds of things. I'll either do a guided meditation. I have a Calm subscription, a subscription for calm.com, who are very good at these things. They have lots of meditation, guided meditations of different lengths. They have sleep stories and all that stuff. So I really can recommend calm.com. And if I feel like I'm really not in the game, I might simply do a guided meditation. Those also tend to be shorter. But if I want to do a little bit more, then I'll simply use an iPhone app called Samsara, which is a simple meditation timer that will ring a bell in intervals that you can define yourself. Otherwise, it'll simply be silent. So, for example, I'll let it ring. I do a 15-minute or 20-minute meditation with bells every 5 minutes. So if I completely get sidetracked in my thoughts and go down some rabbit hole, the bell will at least shake me up every 5 minutes so I can get back focusing on my breath. And so that's something that I do if I feel more in control of my mind. If I'm totally monkey-minded, I'll prefer a guided meditation. Do you have any home automation? Do I? So there's lots of stuff on there. First of all, I have all the important devices here on this dashboard, so I can actually switch off stuff directly from Home Assistant here. So, for example, my key light. But I also have visibility of my air quality, for example. It's pretty warm in here thanks to my computers and the small room. CO2 levels are still acceptable. And then I also have set up a lot of automations. And for example, we have a wake-up routine where first lights go on softly, and that is a signal that, for example, there's still time to turn around one more time, or maybe for the kids to come over and cuddle. And but when it's time to really get up and get ready for school, the light will turn up more brightly. And these automations are controlled from this single switch here. So if there are holidays or something, I simply switch off school time, and that then switches off all the automations around getting up in the morning. Or if I switch on away mode, that means the lights will go on a more sophisticated random schedule where they get turned on and off on a random basis for specific amounts of time, and then get turned off later as well. Window control? I don't have any window controls yet. I intend to get myself some blackout blinds from IKEA, but I'm not sure what you meant by window controls. Is there anything that sounds like window? Oh, living room window. No, that's actually just a light that is next to the window. So that should have a different symbol here. It has a, what is this? A switch symbol, because it's a smart switch that turns on a normal desk lamp or table lamp. But I should change the symbol to an actual desk lamp or something like that. But yeah, we can do that right away. So let's do edit dashboard, edit living room window. Oh, I can't actually influence the icon from there. Oh, yes, I can. Okay, brilliant. So what about desk lamp? It's not really a desk lamp, is it? It's a no, it's also not a floor lamp. Ah, normal lamp. That's good. Save. Okay, that makes things a little bit more clear. My favorite automation. Can also change the device type on the device settings screen. Yeah, I should probably turn that from switch to lamp, actually. My favorite automation is what I've built recently for my office fan here. I was only able to build that thanks to switching to my new home server, where I was able to plug in a Bluetooth dongle, which then could connect to my CO2 monitor. And now I have an automation that turns on the office fan if the carbon dioxide level is above a specific threshold for 5 minutes. Then it turns on the fan, and that hopefully also signals me if I'm in the room, but why would the CO2 heighten if there's no one in the room? That signals also to me that I need to switch open the window, otherwise the fan would only churn the bad air. It'll only do that in times where I'm actually in the office. And the auto off is, of course, when the carbon dioxide drops below a certain threshold, and then it turns off the office fan as well. But there is an edge case, and I think being a software developer made me think of that edge case, and that is what happens if CO2 levels are above the threshold that I can actually influence from the office dashboard here. Here I have a slider where I can control when this threshold is reached. At the moment I have set it to 1000 ppm. So we are still in the green here at 795. What happens if the fan turns on because of the CO2 level, but I don't open a window? Maybe no one's in here actually to open the window in the first place. And then will the fan turn on indefinitely and use a lot of electricity for nothing? That shouldn't happen, and that's why there are extra rules here, and this is a little bit more sophisticated, because I have another rule that is office fan start cooldown, and that checks, is the office fan turned on, and has the is the carbon dioxide still above the threshold? Has the office fan turned on for 20 minutes actually? That's why I've set it to 20 minutes here. So if the fan has been on for 20 minutes and the CO2 level is still above threshold, that means something is not right. Maybe the window isn't open. Then I will turn off the office fan, and I'm tracking the state of the office fan with a 3 value value. So wait. 0 is the fan is off and can be switched on. 1 means the fan is on, has been switched on by an automation, not manually. So if the if the fan has been on for 20 minutes without any effect, then I'll set the state to 2, which means basically it's on cooldown. And it'll only go off cooldown once the CO2 level goes below the threshold. That's this automation here. If the carbon dioxide goes below the threshold for 10 minutes, and we are on state 2, which means cooldown, then it'll reset this state to 0, which means the fan can now be turned on automatically again. Otherwise, the auto on has another condition here. The state needs to be below 1 to switch on, because at 1 it's already on, and at 2 it's on cooldown. So only if the state is below 1, i.e. 0, then it will be switched on automatically. Otherwise, I'd have to have it on manually. And that's why I'm pretty proud of this automation, because because of this edge case coverage. And now we've infected Exegete with home automation and home server, with the home automation and home server virus. So yeah, I basically built a state machine in Home Assistant to control my office fan. I can see how that is annoying, yeah. My guess would be Pi-hole is a DNS server, and people are always looking for port 53 servers because they can abuse them for denial of service attacks. Especially what's called a reflection attack. Yeah, Pi-hole is definitely something that I like as well. Of course, I have that running on my home server as well. And as you can see, it blocks almost 5% of our in-house DNS requests. 4.9% of DNS requests get blocked because they are going to stuff like metrics.icloud.com, telemetry.mozilla.org, googletagmanager.com, segment.io, stuff like that, which all has to do with tracking. And yeah, of course, it'll also keep the amount of ads we see below or at a minimum. If it's still an Intel Mac Mini, for sure. I'm not sure if I would go for a Raspberry Pi 5. First of all, there are single board computers that are much more powerful. And second of all, I really got to see how much more is possible if you get a decent sized machine. I mean, it'll draw a little bit more power, I'll be honest, but as most of you probably already know, I got myself a 5-year-old Dell Precision 5820 workstation, and I'm using that as a home server now. And simply having a real machine, even with hot swap disk bays, and a decent Xeon CPU. This machine can take up to 0.5 terabyte RAM. And it has even already 6 USB 3 ports on the back, and a few more USB ports at the front. So it's really, really extensible, and that makes so much more fun, and because it offers so much more possibilities than a single board computer. And then, of course, there's if you don't want to go to a full-fledged server class machine, as I did, I probably would take a look at these mini computers that are around, that have this cookie box size, and you can get them used at a very good price, I think. So the same class as the Intel NUCs that Stupak just mentioned. Language center in the brain shutting down. I thought about getting one of these minis as my home server, actually, but then I thought, well, I'd have to attach USB drives to get decent disk space for VMs and stuff. New ones are also pretty pricey. You can easily pay $1,000 for one. And then I realized, well, I can get this used Dell machine for $500 and invest a little bit of money into disks and RAM, and then I'll have a powerhouse of a machine for 1,000 or €1,500, and yeah, that's what I did. Is it easy to make exceptions for websites in Pi-hole if you're on phone? Yes, I think it is. It's you simply log in and choose. I think it's still named whitelist, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Or you do it from the query log, I think. So Pi-hole usually logs all the requests that it got recently, and from there you can then disable blocking for specific domains. So that shouldn't be a problem. I'm not sure about the mobile-friendly layout as well. I don't think I've ever logged onto Pi-hole from my phone. Pi-hole mobile UI. Let's see if there are any images. Doesn't look like it. I'd have to try it myself. good movies or shows lately? Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch much TV lately. When I was still in my frantic phase, trying to catch up with stuff, I didn't watch TV. And in recent days, when I was tired beyond measure, I got to bed at 8 p.m. and didn't watch much. However, I did watch a little. I watched Extraordinary on Disney, which is a nice little TV show. Its plot centers around the fact that in the show everyone gets superpowers at age 18, but the protagonist didn't and is now 25. She's 25 and still hasn't any superpowers. Everyone's flying around or making themselves invisible or doing all kinds of stuff. And she gets bullied quite a bit because of her lack of superpowers. But in the end, it's all about her and her friends and the relationships she has. And so it was quite nice, and I definitely did enjoy the Irish accent of the main actress. Yeah, a bit like a real life Encanto or something like that. Some of the gags in that show are pretty predictable, but there are also a few interesting things. I almost spoiled one, so I won't, but yeah. Let me see, can I log into Pi-hole from my phone? The nice thing about using Proxmox for my home server services is that all these machines, all these virtual machines now get their own IP address from my router. So I can simply go to piehole.home.arpa, which is my home domain. And now it tells me placeholder page, so I guess I need to use a port number. Which port is Pi-hole running on? Nope. So it's port 80 actually, so I'll add /admin. Here we go. Why is there no password prompt? Let's see. Well, there is a password prompt, but it doesn't prompt me to use one password to insert the password. So I'll have to copy that by hand. Remember me, please, don't forget me. Oh yes! Responsive layout. Now, let's see, how do I... Oh yes. Yeah, it's the same UI, just in responsive layout, so the sidebar only comes in if you click a button and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely mobile friendly. So that's how it looks on my phone. Do I have a central syslog server? Not yet, but I'm experimenting with OpenSearch for a customer project. And if I get OpenSearch running nicely, and if I'll use my home server to experiment with these things on my home server, and I'll probably then set up OpenSearch and something like FluentD to actually send logs to this OpenSearch instance and then have a nice dashboard to slice and dice all the log entries. Yeah, the reverse proxy is actually still already on my list of live stream projects that I'm going to do. So I'd also like to be able to host some minor websites on my home server and make them reachable from the internet. So there will definitely be some kind of a reverse proxy where everything that comes into the house on port 80 and 443 then go to my Nginx proxy, and that then will forward stuff to the respective services. There is a home server specific application called Nginx Proxy Manager, where you can easily set up these reverse proxies in Nginx with a UI. So you can simply say, okay, if it comes in, you only have one port 80 and 443 on your broadband connection. So you'll simply forward all port 80 and port 443 to this proxy manager, and then divert from there based on the host name, for example. So if it has Pi-hole in the host name, then forward it to the Pi-hole VM, and if it has Home Assistant in there, then go to Home Assistant and stuff. Traffic works nicely as well. Caddy is another great alternative. We're spoiled for choice. All right, folks, I've been running over by 50% by now. It was supposed to be only an office hour, and now we are 90 minutes in because it was so much fun. But I think I should give myself a little bit of rest. And so I will say goodbye for the weekend, and hopefully next week I'll both have the energy and the time to do live streams. In terms of time, there might be an issue because I'll have to cover from one of my colleagues who is going on a 3-day hike. And so during that time, I'll probably have to take over a few support requests. And if those are urgent and time consuming, then I might not be able to do a live stream. But if that's not the case, I'll definitely try and be back on Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. My time, 1 p.m. UTC. And you can see all the other scheduled streaming times on my Twitch page, which is twitch.tv/fullstacklive. And yeah, so thanks for stopping by and chatting. It was a lot of fun. Let me quickly check if we can raid someone. But no, there's no one around at the moment. Different time zones, I guess. So that's it for today and for this week. Thanks for spending some time with me and cheering me up. It was a lot of fun. And don't forget to follow the stream if you don't do that yet. And if you like what I'm doing, maybe throw me something over on Ko-fi. I'd very much appreciate it. All right. So I'll see you around. Have a great weekend, everyone, and take care.